What are you doing?
A sequel.
I don't understand.
Yeah, me neither. We pretty much nailed it the first time.
Howdy friendos, my name is Stuart, and welcome to the part of the channel where we look at pop culture characters and determine what alignment they are in Dungeons & Dragons based on the variables we set in our Shrek video. Today we'll be looking at everyone's favorite asshole scientist, but this time we will also be looking at the other half of our duty-tagonist.
Deuteragonist.
Oh yeah, Demonax here again.
Greetings, I'm Demonac. I make tales for my D&D campaign, but I also do RPG Q&A videos. Sometimes. Want to make your RPG universe feel like Rick and Morty? Stuart is joining me for that video on my channel. Check it out after watching this.
Anyway, we are checking out Rick and Morty again because search engine optimization is a thing. But just to make sure this isn't a repeat of last time, we will also be looking at Morty, the grandson of Rick Sanchez's designated C-137.
Before we look at Morty though, we should probably address some of the naysayers from your last video. You've had quite a bit of pushback for declaring Rick chaotic good. I don't think you were wrong, but it is a very bold claim.
Yeah, okay. It was my second video I ever did for this alignment series, and I suppose I could have been more clear in my arguments. First of all, to address the big one, a lot of people took issue with the fact that I treated nearly all of Rick's actions with the same weight on my alignment wheel. The confusion behind this is understandable considering the sheer scale behind some of his actions. However, I feel it is still appropriate to measure alignments in this regard.
All of the Ricks we ever see are the smartest beings of their universe. They create tech out of literal garbage that is sufficiently advanced to appear like magic to us. All life, including his own, loses its uniqueness when, from your God's eye view, each universe is reduced to little more than a grain of sand on an infinite cosmic beach. No matter how big his footprints, they can be washed away by the tides. To a character like Rick, finding meaning in anything, even his infinite grandkids, is just as significant to him and to his character growth as whether or not he accidentally Cronenbergs one of the endless Earths. So yes, in the context of this character, destroying a world or even a universe is just as significant to him as going out of his way to protect a high school from a vampire.
Also, there were a few other things that people complained about that I'm just gonna chalk up to miscommunication. Now, I will admit I am not the biggest Rick and Morty expert out there. My research was done over the course of a few days by scouring subreddits and other fan forums, and I have come to a consensus of what episodes we believe our Rick is the main protagonist. For whatever reason, this seemed to give the impression that I didn't watch the entire series of Rick and Morty. I did? Like, several times. When I meant I did research, I was referring to the fact that not every episode of Rick and Morty had C-137 in it. There are very valid fan theories going around that some of the episodes had a Rick from a different universe running around, so I was trying to take that into consideration.
There was also the complaint that you didn't count every one of Rick's actions. Remember that one time he destroyed the Teenyverse?
Yeah, basically at the time of the video's release, there were over 30 episodes of Rick and Morty. In order to make sure that it was a reasonable length, I basically just summarized the events of the episode and used that. We're gonna do that again in this video because otherwise this will be like 40 minutes long.
Are you gonna keep him at chaotic good?
No, I will be starting Rick's alignment for Season 4 based on where we had him last time, on the edge of chaotic good and chaotic neutral. Check out the first Rick alignment video if you want to know all the details.
Moving on though, this video focuses on Rick's grandson, Morty, specifically Morty C-137. He starts the series as a well-meaning, typical 14-year-old boy. He goes to high school with the hopes of getting decent grades, getting by, and getting laid. He definitely isn't evil, but he's immature and hormonal. He's too much of a blank slate to call him good.
We will definitely be starting Morty off as true neutral. However, I also seriously think that through Rick's influence, he goes through some of the most character development out of any character. One thing that is surprisingly good about this series, despite the fact that it is something of a cartoon sitcom, all of the characters do change and evolve over time into different people.
I expect a lot of wild alignment mood swings over the course of the series. We'll try to analyze it all at the end. And remember, we will be covering the overall alignment shift episode by episode, rather than going through every individual beat.
Wait a minute, what? Away we go!
Oh man! Oh, jeez! Oh!
I'm sorry, Morty. It's a bummer. In reality, you're as dumb as they come.
Morty gets dragged around by Rick on his adventures. Neutral.
Instead, We will go to a new world and colonize it with a society of intelligent dogs.
Morty gets dragged around by Rick on his adventures. This happens a lot. Neutral.
Don't let me die!
You're not gonna die! What's your name?
Morty was actually pretty heroic and takes charge throughout the whole episode. Neutral good. Morty chooses to go on an adventure and tries to do all the good he can. He almost calls it quits, but Rick encourages him to finish. They end the story as heroes. Neutral good.
Hey there, Jessica. Whoa, oh, whoopsie.
Okay, this is one of those episodes that's hard to tell. Morty tries to basically roofie a girl into loving him. He realizes this and tells Rick to fix everything. However, if this didn't happen, then I would think that he wouldn't have tried to fix anything. He literally just kinda wanted to compel Jessica to sleep with him.
He wanted to compel her to love him, which is actually even worse, though he's not mature enough yet to really understand the implications. Chaotic evil.
I'd rather breathe poison than live another minute with you!
No, stop!
My life has been a lie!
Morty lies to his son the whole episode in order to keep both him and the planet safe, despite it being unhealthy for him.
This is what you get when buying used sex robots. At least check Carfax first. Chaotic good.
The little brother. You're not the cause of your parents' misery. You're just a symptom of it.
Can I show you something?
Morty, no offense, but a drawing of me you made when you were 8 isn't gonna make me feel like less of an accident.
That out there? That's my grave. On one of our adventures, Rick and I basically destroyed the whole world. So we bailed on that reality and we came to this one. And every morning, Summer, I eat breakfast 20 yards away from my own rotting corpse.
Morty tells the truth to Summer in order to help comfort her about the realization that their parents would be better off without them.
This is literally the moment when I realized this was not going to be another forgettable reset button sitcom. Lawful good.
Morty, what?
Dad, what did you think about the recent report published by the Pluto Science Reader linking Pluto quakes, sinkholes, and surface shrinkage to deep core plutonium drilling?
Morty insists on telling the truth to the Plutonians about the reality of their planet.
Jerry's the real moral compass. If you do the opposite of Jerry, you'll hardly ever go wrong. Lawful good.
Do your worst, you little bastards! Kill me! Do it! Do it! Morty, thank God! Get me out of this! Come on!
You lucky I'm not a Rick.
Morty helps Rick out with the whole council issue, even though he doesn't really deserve it. Neutral good.
Is go out and find us some Calaxian crystals.
Morty covers for his grandpa during both the party that Rick threw and afterwards to his parents. Chaotic good.
Oh,
Morty, where's your collar? I'll fix it.
I dropped it.
Morty is just kind of brought along for the ride on this one. Neutral.
With this.
Rick, you've been clear on the fact that you don't want to help, so just go away.
More are coming.
Morty frees fart from the government, causing dozens of deaths. He then kills Fart when he realizes it's the only way to save his universe. Chaotic good.
You're afraid the big bad hive mind is gonna steal your grandpa away.
Actually, no. I think Unity's great and you're a horrible influence on it.
Morty and Summer attempt to help Unity and the planet she is occupying. I really like the moral quandary of this episode, especially since the argument could be made that this is any alignment on the spectrum because Unity is pretty much a psychic parasite. I'm just going to split the difference and call it neutral good, but if you said it was anything else, I don't think I'd argue with you.
Oh, wow. Baby Wizard was a parasite? He set me up with my wife.
What the hell?
I figured it out, Rick. The parasites can only create pleasant memories. I know you're real because I have a ton of bad memories with you.
Morty figures out the secret of the parasites and helps Rick save his family. Shoot almost everyone you love. It's the lawful good thing to do.
Rick and Morty save the world from head aliens. Neutral good.
See, Morty, this is what it's all about. This is why we do what we do.
Morty just kinda gets dragged along on this one. Neutral.
Holy shit! Thanks, kids. You figured it out. Well, Summer did. Kinda weird that you were that willing to sell my existence out for some trim, Morty.
Yeah, Morty just is kinda in denial the whole episode up until Summer really makes him do something about it.
Can't wait to see Summer's arc over the next 6 seasons. But neutral for Morty.
Does all interdimensional TV have to rely on juvenile violence?
Well, Summer, maybe people that create things aren't concerned with your delicate sensibilities.
Morty doesn't really do anything in this episode except express some opinions. I'm just gonna say neutral.
Eat this!
Ooh, boy, you're really,
Morty finally snaps and starts killing a bunch of people on Purge Planet.
It was bound to happen eventually. Chaotic evil.
Rick, I can handle it if you go, but you break Mom's heart, and I won't forgive you for that.
Morty is just genuinely helpful this whole episode and doesn't try to stop Rick from leaving. Neutral good.
Never laid eyes on an idiot dumb Morty. What an idiot! What a dumb Morty!
Who's stupid now, bitch?
So, like, I almost want to argue chaotic neutral with this, since he did kind of do it out of frustration, but he did do it with the intent of killing Rick. So, yeah, chaotic evil.
Good thing I saw that note. Why would you want this to happen? All you had to do was go away. Stop standing in the driveway talking.
Morty, armed with absorbed muscle memories, spends half the episode working out his feelings through violent catharsis, then helps the arm avenge its family by killing bad guys. I'm just gonna say chaotic neutral.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ. Therapist, man.
Weird breed.
I liked her.
Morty was dragged along for this one, and he participated in the therapy. Hard to say this was anything but neutral.
The whole planet will get blown up with a neutrino bomb. And try to make it a lesson about yourselves, like how selfish you are or something. And also Hawaii.
You guys hit the baskets. I'll disarm the drunkenly improvised neutrino bomb.
Honestly, Morty was just being a good kid this episode and trying to help both the Vindicators and Rick. Neutral good.
Oh my god. I have to go call my mother.
Trisha, wait! Ethan! Hey, it's okay. Sit down. You made my sister cry, Ethan. You messed with her body image.
Look, Morty.
Shh. Careful, Ethan. Your s'more is burning.
Morty tortures and mutilates a high school kid, but he did it for hurting his sister's feelings. So I'm gonna give it a pass as chaotic good?
I wasn't who I said I was.
You weren't a 14-year-old boy from the Midwest who ran away from his family and capitalized on his lack of conscience by becoming a stockbroker?
Oh, I guess I was pretty upfront about that, wasn't I?
Morty abandons his family after getting healthy and separating his personality. This is arguably not applicable since his personality was split for most of the episode. However, I'm just gonna call it lawful neutral.
I call them Morty's Mind Blowers. And we'll be doing this instead of interdimensional cable.
We're not counting Morty's mind blowers again since we can't determine the order in which these occur.
And honestly, Morty deserves a break after all this suffering.
Like, stop using paper towels for toilet paper, not move on into a sloppy rebound.
Dad, you need to slow down. Rethink this soul bond.
Morty advises his dad about not getting into the relationship for both the rebound's sake and his own. Lawful good.
Rick, don't get mad, but I stole your portal gun.
What the fuck, Morty?
Morty tires of Rick's shenanigans and steals Rick's portal gun to get his family away from him.
He was worried over nothing. Even if our Beth is a clone, I'm pretty sure Rick cares more about a clone of Beth than about most things that exist. Chaotic good.
Morty, I love you.
What? No!
Throughout this episode, Morty is trying to obey the crystal so that he can die with Jessica, and Rick is hopping around universes trying to get back to his own, without a plan. However, Rick and Morty both learn that you should try to shoot for the middle of the road, where you have a plan but are flexible. Yeah, Morty does a bunch of lawful evil stuff through the episode, but the takeaway is meant to be neutral. Throughout the course of the episode, Rick harasses Tony for pooping in his toilet. I wrote that. Throughout the course of the episode, Rick harasses Tony for pooping on his toilet, but doesn't kill him, and in fact starts forming a friendship with him. He's actually being nice in his own weird way. Chaotic good.
Take the app down!
I can't. I'm an intern.
Okay, well, who tells interns what to do?
Morty had nothing to do with Rick's shit this time. He was stuck with Jerry saving the world. From Jerry, lawful good.
It's as if someone stole his enthusiasm for his own idea.
Yeah, without him even knowing about
it.
Rick pulls off a crazy plan to get Morty into giving up his dream of pitching a movie to Netflix. Chaotic evil.
Rick.
Of course, you know, you gotta help my grandson follow his dreams.
Who needs dreams? I'll just hang out with you and go on adventures and do whatever you want to do, forever.
Morty gives up his dreams of pitching his movie to Netflix. This is chaotic neutral because he's unaware of Rick's meddling. And because who turns down Netflix? I want that Netflix money.
Throughout most of these episodes, Rick is pretty self-serving and arguably chaotic neutral, but he's down to roll most of the time with the dragon. It's the end where he's actually his nicest, sparing Jerry of whatever horrifying revelation the cat brought. Chaotic good.
Fuck this! You can take this stupid fake soul bond contract and you can...
Morty gets a dragon slave and, gets jealous and pissy that Rick forms a better bond with him. He is then disgusted by their group soul bond and releases him. Chaotic neutral.
Okay, so what are we doing?
That book has everything they need to create snake time travel, and they're getting it in 1985, snake time. Now they're gonna do it so early that it won't involve us, and they're gonna be even stupider with it.
Rick only wiped out this species in self-defense. In fact, he mostly left it up to the authorities. If not for the ridiculousness of time travel, he wouldn't even have bothered. It's all Morty's fault anyway. Neutral.
I'm sorry!
Morty's kindness actually kickstarted the events of the entire episode, trying to help out as many people as he could. Or snakes in that matter. He doesn't really change throughout the entire thing either, so I'm going to say lawful good.
What? I feel like we're forgetting something.
Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me. Car?
Hey, look at that. Rick is still chaotic neutral, leaning towards chaotic good, and Morty is pretty much the same thing, but not on the chaotic side.
And once again, this makes sense. If you want to disagree that Rick and Morty are on the good side of the alignment chart, that's fine. But you can hardly call them evil. In multiple instances across the series, Morty and even Rick have a relatively positive effect on each other and even on some of the strangers they get mixed up with. They aren't setting out to purposefully hurt people and do evil stuff. Look at it from another angle. Imagine the damage Rick could be doing if he gave a shit about destroying or conquering planets or universes.
Rick is out there to have a good time and have fun with his friends. He will frequently show affection in his own weird way to others in whatever method he understands. And Morty is just a teenage boy, and while he does learn to start standing up for himself as a man, he is still a nice and well-meaning individual. As I mentioned in my Sonic video, a lack of alignment change does not a bad character make. You can have a character drastically change over the course of a series while keeping them in the same alignment.
If you need an example of a bunch of characters who keep roughly the same alignment throughout a long period of time, even as their circumstances and motivations change, there are literally hundreds of examples out there, from DBZ to the MCU. Speaking of which, when are you going to get to those guys?
I mean, are you really a YouTuber until you've done an MCU marathon? I say let's tackle it sometime in the future, but until then, what do you think people should do if they want more Rick and Morty D&D talks?
Clearly they should check out the video we did together on my channel called Make Your D&D Setting Feel Like Rick and Morty, a video where we describe how to capture the feel of this insane multiverse.
And if you're one of those people who say, but there's a Rick and Morty D&D setting now, why would I check out that video? Demon Axe's particular video will show you exactly how to capture the spirit of an episode of Rick and Morty and add it into your own repertoire of DMing skills.
See you over on my channel.